Greetings, everyone. Good evening. How are you all doing tonight?
Hello. Hello from Egypt.
Hello from Egypt. That's right.
Love that.
Well, we have a very special show set up for us tonight, and a lot of wonderful opportunities have come our way here lately through Annie XD and Audrey and a bunch of folks. Laird Scranton's going to be coming on too, Khadija. So I just want to introduce you to Khadija Hammond, everyone, from Egypt. You live in Luxor, right, Khadija?
Yes, I live in Luxor.
She lives in
West
Luxor.
Bank.
That's wonderful. And
City
we
of
have, the what?
City of the Dead. City of the
City
Dead.
of the Dead.
City of the Dead.
Well, there's no deadheads here, so. But, and of course, you all know Dalibor. For our viewers who are listening and just watching and aren't usually in our chat room, we have Dalibor Suchi. He's over in Germany, actually from Prague. We have Julianne Payne from Australia. We have Mandy Moo from Australia, who's had to jump out and take care of some customers. She'll be back on soon. And Lori Cross of Pure Love Ascension, who puts the program together for us and runs the server to keep the show up and running. So welcome and greetings to everyone. I want to just say hello real quickly to the chat room. And Lori, if you're willing to do that, I'd appreciate it so you can see them better than I can from here.
Yes, you bet. Let's see. We've got Elder Barry. So Barry Chad, so good to see you. Slightly Slanted Sleuth, Steve, it's a pleasure. Always good to see you in chat. I love that name. Audrey, everyone knows the odds. Hi, Audrey. Good to have you with us. Let's see. We have Kelly, my sister. Good to have you here, Kelly. Thanks for coming in. And let's see, who else do we have? Steve Clark. Oh, such a pleasure, Steve. Good to see you, always. Yeah. We've got Project Skyfalls. Very good to see you.
Oh, Skyfalls is here. Okay.
Yeah. And welcome.
There's Trina Bean.
Yeah.
Trina's on a different time schedule now that daylight savings time kicked in, so she can't be on Wednesday nights anymore, but she listens to the program while she's driving, and we'll see her on Friday. Yeah.
Hi, Trina. Be safe. Janine, thank you for being here. Lucky Stone. Love your videos, Lucky Stone. And I think that's just about everybody. So welcome, everyone.
Steve Clark is.
Yep.
Yeah,
Steve Clark. Yep.
So good to have you here, Steve. Yep. It really is. Really is. All right. Well, let me just give you a really brief introduction for our special guest this evening, and we're going to show you her website. She's going to talk a little bit about who she is and what she does, and then we have stringed together a few videos that she's done from on the ground to give you a little tour of the Giza Plateau. And she's going to unveil some mysteries for us tonight.
It's really great that you live there and you can bring
I hope I can do you justice here. I'll do my best, Khadija. First of all, she's just wonderful. She's just got a great personality, and I hope you all enjoy her as much as we have. She is a scholar of ancient Egypt, a journalist, an author, a novelist, and has a tour guide, former flight stewardess too, as well. She's the co-director right now of Team BASTET. They are restoring the great temple of BASTET in the delta of Egypt, and that's a massive undertaking. She has a history with all kinds of folks like Annie XD and John Anthony West. She's done documentaries with them, a lot of background work. She's in the background a lot for these things. She's their correspondent for a lot of their on-site activities and helps them arrange ahead of time for their tours and their specials in Egypt, and just a fount of information and knowledge, and extremely spiritually connected, I might add, and has a wonderful estate. She's what I would call humanitarian, as well as a protector of our Mother Earth, its farm animals, the cats. She's a heart. The heart as big as Egypt itself. So, without further ado, we welcome you, Khadija, and show off if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up there living in Egypt.
You know, since I was a little girl, I have been in love with this country. I clearly remember the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston and Yul Brynner, And I was rooting for them to catch the Israelis. I was in love with Yul Brynner. Oh my God. I couldn't figure out why Nefertari didn't love him. But anyway, my mother thought it was nuts. But I used to have a shirt. I would pull over and it had stripes going this way, and the arms would look like a pharaonic dress. And my earliest memory was saying, I'm back in Egypt or something. Very weird shit when I was little. Excuse my language. One of the things I do
fine.
is
You're fine.
Anyway, at a very young age, I would say 21, when I first started flying for the airlines, my first thing to do was to come to Egypt. I got off the airplane, I kissed the ground, I knew I was home. And my whole life has been this country, helping its people, try to save the monuments. And now as I get older, I'm one of the last ones. People are dying. I mean, John is gone, Boris is gone, Boris Said, who was the director of the Sphinx project. So many people are leaving. And I'm one of the last ones. People say, you're the grand dame. And I go, no, I'm just an old bag who loves Egypt. And before I leave, I have things I want to do, all having to do with saving the temples, which are going into ruin. I mean, they're just falling apart in places. We're working very hard to try to save them. Now, the Temple of Bastet, when I saw it, I wept like a child because I wanted to see it all my life. I'm a big cat person. I love the felines. I'm a Leo, number one. But on top of that,
me too.
On the cusp. I'm on the cusp.
Well, that's good, but we're all together. This is a great group of people. And I only want to say to all of you that are joining in, God bless all of you. Every single one of you is so important right now. You have no idea. Don't be lonely because of COVID. Please understand that this is a time to go into yourself and that all of you are important because we are redoing the earth. She is redoing herself. Unfortunately, you're caught in when she's cleaning. A lot of people are leaving. They can't deal with it. One of our Native American brothers said this is a very special time to live because a lot of people will not make it through this because the earth is in the middle of a changeover, even in the energy, the animal kingdom, everything is changing. So on another level, it's starting to show up. It's quite interesting. And going back to Bastet's temple, the first time I saw it, I cried my eyes out. It was all falling down. I said, where is the temple? And they said, Madam Khadija, your people are so sweet here. Why are you crying? I said, it's not here anymore. It's gone. I'm just, nobody could comfort me. Now, Herodotus said that it was the most beautiful little temple in all of Egypt. Imagine, he went to Karnak, he went to Luxor, he went to all over Egypt. Yet this Bastet temple was beautiful. Now, what happened in 70 BC, there was an earthquake and it fell. And so we are trying to dig out those blocks and save the blocks. The frescoes are beautiful. You can't believe how beautiful. It's like a big puzzle. So we have made an open air museum where we're putting gravel and you'll see that on the site, what we're doing to try to preserve the blocks. Then we're going to have an architect who's going to redesign the temple. We know what it looks like because there's one very similar in Upper Egypt that looks like it. So we want to reassemble it, but it takes a lot of money and a lot of patience. And people have been having a hard time. They have been able to donate because they're all trying to live. COVID has wiped us, put us back to our most, I don't know how to say this, like primitive roots nearly. But
wow. Yeah.
I have hope that since she brought this plague, that I talk about Sekhmet quite a bit. She's the lion-headed goddess of Memphis, the goddess of disease, war, pestilence. But she's also inside her lives Bastet, the cat. When she's angry, she's a lioness. When she's happy, she's a cat. And I'll give you a secret. When you see her face, look here, and you'll see a little kitten going like this, which is the Egyptian happy, So she transforms herself one into the other. And there's one day I'll tell you the story when we do a Sekhmet program where I've already done some film you can show, but I would like to take you live inside her temple.
Oh, that's
and
great.
Feel what it is to be next to this goddess. I know you've heard of Om Seti, right? Om Seti was terrified to go in there. She would not go in Sekhmet's temple. Now there's a temple right outside Karnak It's called the Temple of Ptah, built by Tutmosis III of the 18th dynasty. And there's Ptah is the god, the Memphis god of the people who build things, artists, builders. You know, he's in mummy form. He's matter trapped in mummy form. Like when you look at a rock as a sculpture and you see something in it, and you sculpt the rock away, and there's the statue. That's what I'm talking about. He's the god of that. And then her son is none other than Nefertum, the great god of the Egyptian blue water lily, which I'll talk about that later. But we're getting ready to raise the water lily, and it's going to be one of the most powerful. It is one of the most powerful things to fight cancer on the planet. Mm-hmm. The blue water lily is a form of Viagra for women and men as well. And I got people banging down my door. When are you going to have it? When are you going to have it? When are you going to have it? We all have problems when we get older, all right?
Aren't you growing some of that?
Yes, I have it in my garden. And I have a bloom. I have my first bloom about to come out. It's coming up now. And I'm like, oh, my God. But anyway, we're going to grow it in the billions. I'm talking to Uganda. Uganda is involved. I said, listen, Uganda, you want to be wealthy? Grow it. I'll show you how to grow it. You're going to grow it. I'm going to go see them in Uganda. And we're going to talk. We're already talking about it online, bringing it back because it's all over the walls of ancient Egypt. When I show you the southern Heliopolis, you're going to flip. It's nothing like the Temple of Luxor. I know that Schwaller de Lubitsch talked about the Temple of Man. It's much more than the Temple of Man. Much more. And I will be giving you a tour of it.
Well, let's show folks your website, what it looks like, and how they can get to it, and then we'll show the videos you sent to us. We have put this splash page on the Crystal Network website, along with all the other folks we've been bringing into the show. And you'll see if you go under either the main page or even under Andromeda, you'll see this splash page for Khadija, where she has her contact information and information about the temple that she's rebuilding. If you go to the Donate Now button down below, it's really the link to her website. And this is her website. And it talks a little bit about what she's doing there. And it also shows her, this is your boat, is it not?
Yes, we take tours down the Nile. And the main reason is, of course, as I said, to raise money. If you click on that arrow, it's a film about the boat. And we have very, very exclusive tours. I only have five staterooms, and each one has its own bathroom and so on. But it's very extensive tours of Egypt from Luxor to Aswan, and from Aswan to Luxor, and then up to Tel El Amarna, where they're working on the temple and tombs and so forth. They're working on the great temple of Aten right now. And this is what we're doing. See how it's all fallen? Now, this is a statue of Queen Tiye, the great queen of Amenhotep. There's Bastet, the cat goddess. You know what her name means? She of the ointment jar. Bastet was a goddess. Well, hello, upside down. Oh, wait, that's all right.
Here we go. It's hard to hold it. Here we go.
Anyway, that's Bastet. So she's the cat goddess. This is what she turns into. This is your beautiful little house cats, your companions. The sweetness, the beauty. Right here it says she of the ointment jar. See the eye, meaning the eye of God. See what in ruins it is? The whole thing is collapsed. Now I have something to tell you exclusively that has not been revealed yet. This is news. Recently, when I went to the ruins with the inspector, go ahead, you can go back, go ahead and go through it. As we were leaving, I turned around and I said, what is that well there? He goes, that's a Roman well. I said, all of a sudden I had a vision of a child playing with kittens and drinking from the well with his mom and his dad. And it was Jesus. Wow. I found out later it was Jesus. Jesus drank from this well. Now, this is Nadia Qudra, the director of Lower Egypt. She is the one who is in charge of all of this, and we're trying to raise all this. And she's a great lady. I tell you, for a woman to rise up that high, I don't know if a man could do it. Really, I'm saying this is a man's thing, archaeology, and yet she, sure. Dr. Qudra is the grand poobah of the Delta. Mm-hmm. So we are very close friends. She knows what it is we're trying to do. I wanted to make it a world effort of people who love cats and animals in particular, because BASTET's temple was an actual medical center. And we had lions there, we had cheetahs there, we had, everything. We had all kinds of cat felines, because the felines are our teachers. Mine teach me all the time. But you can see how it's fallen into ruin. But we restored this one statue. I want you to look at this one next. The next statue. All right, see how big this is? That's me right there with my husband. Look how big it is. That's Queen Tiye, the wife of Amenhotep III, who was the father of Akhenaten. And she was a big cat lady. She loved cats.
Wow.
So that was recovered from the site. There's no telling what's there because it hasn't really been excavated yet. Wait till we start looking. Wait until we start looking. It's going to blow people's mind what we find. Now, what we're doing is when we, anyone who donates to this project becomes a member of the Team BASTET. That means that you can get discounted prices on the boat trips. You can get, we bring you to Egypt, depending on how much you donate. All the money's going to the excavation, which costs around $50,000 a year, because we have to use big cranes to pull these blocks out. Now, when you go to my website, you'll see it. The blocks are gigantic. And so we're hoping to raise enough money to raise this temple. And I hope I see it before I kick the bucket, that we have actually saved the temple. And it's for prosperity. It'll become a World Heritage Site. People will go there in droves. There is a beautiful museum that my husband was able to get built. In the Delta has so many antiquities seen, or they're finding things all over the place. They just made a big discovery.
Your husband's an architect. I mean, an archaeologist, is he not?
Well, yes, he was the head of the Temple of Karnak and Luxor, Valley of the Kings and the Queens, and then he retired as director of the Eastern Delta. So he is the president of this work. He's the one directing the excavations. He knows what he's doing. He found the Luxor cachette, which was a bunch of statues that were in the Temple of Luxor. I don't know if you know about that, but
no.
I'll take you to the museum on one of our trips, and I'll show you all what he found. These statues look like they were made yesterday. They were buried in the courtyard of the Temple of Luxor.
That's amazing.
Southern harem, I call it.
Southern harem. Well, we're going to be hearing from Khadija a lot. She has joined this esoteric team. She's going to be sending in updates and video clips. We have it called the Esoteric Voice of Egypt. It's a mini production of short takes with Khadija that we'll be releasing periodically on our channel. And then for larger discussions, we'll have her back on Esoteric Egypt for discussions for longer subjects that she's been researching and bringing to us. So welcome aboard, Khadija, and we are committed to helping you with your cause. And we will add you, we've already added you to our community bulletin board so that folks can book tours with you if they'd like. And you're going to talk about how you work with initiates and so forth. And so you have sent us a series of videos tonight about the Sphinx, Lord Rostau, which is the term used for the ancient pre-Giza plateau description of the proto, or I should say pre-dynastic Egyptians that built the Sphinx and called it the Keeper of Secrets. So we'll go ahead and show your video. We'll pause periodically in between some of your videos so we can have a discussion here on the panel, and I'm sure folks are looking forward to it. Now, folks, Khadija, because of her connections with the authorities in Egypt and her position on this council, she has the ability to go places and do things in Egypt that most people don't. Like Annie XD, both of them have connections and can get into these places that most people cannot get into, and they can get there when there's no tourists around. So we will be seeing some pretty good upfront detailed footage moving forward of these locations. It's just as if we were there with her. And right now, that's the best, is to be able to feel like you're there when you can't get there. But hopefully through knowing her, when you go to book a tour or decide to go to Egypt, you'll have a place to stay and a connection with Khadijah through Andromeda, and it'll be a nice visit for you. I'm planning on going. That's for damn sure.
It would be a dream come
You're
true.
all welcome. You're all
Yeah.
welcome. I want to say before we start, God bless all of you that are not able to come because of COVID or because of money or because of whatever. I'm going to bring Egypt to you. I'll bring it to you in a way that's from my heart to your heart. You'll get to know the people of Egypt, how wonderful they really are. You just get to feel so strange. I mean, I don't understand people being afraid to come here because these people are the best. They have the greatest sense of humor. That first of all, Egyptians have a sense of humor. You're always joking, because life is really a joke if you really think about it.
Yeah.
You know, what do they
Yeah.
say? They say life is tough and then you die.
Life's a bitch and then you die.
Okay, onward and upward.
Okay, when we play this video, just in the very beginning, she's on her boat on the Nile, and she's with some people that are visiting, and it is a little bit difficult to understand what she's saying. I'm going to turn the volume up as loud as I can for you. Once we get past that little section, because the wind's blowing, but you get a feel for what's going on, and then we'll get into the rest of the videos where all the good stuff is. So
Okay,
just wanted to let you know. All right.
Thanks,
folks.
Lori.
You betcha. All right, here we go, folks.
Welcome back, Mandy.
The night of the tribe. When they slept, you guarded the people. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Invaluable service.
And now, as a flight attendant, you guard the passengers on all-night flights to Europe, and it doesn't hurt you as much as it would a sunchild like me, who is getting up early. That's freaking. Huh? I'm not going to extend it, so it's horrible. Are you a sunchild or a moonchild? I think sunchild. You're a sunchild? What are you? Do you like to stay up all night and get up, or do you get up early in the morning? Naturally.
Naturally, I get up early.
You get up early, so you're a
Well, like my body
sunchild.
wakes up early, but yeah.
That's our conversation on the boat. This morning, I want to give you on your third eye the pure lotus flower, blue lotus. This is the pure oil of the blue lotus on your third eye, which is opening the center so that you can sense and feel even more of our beautiful Egypt. We're hoping to make these oils the purest of the pure in Egypt for the world. Thank you.
Good morning. I am in Giza Plateau by myself, no tourist. This is where I will begin to instruct you on Horemheb, Taurus on the horizon, Lord of Rostau, the great Sphinx. Stay tuned. Good morning from the Giza Plateau. That's the Great Pyramid behind me. I am sitting on top of the champion of the Great Pyramid's house, at least on the second floor. These people don't even know what a gold mine they have. Some of them found out. So now the whole village is doing what I did, building beautiful places to sit on top of the roofs of their homes. And I have to help these people do this because they're all stuck inside in the dark. I don't know why they do that. They need fresh air. And this is the roof, and there's two patios, different levels here. And there's another pair of some steps going up to another floor, which I'm going up there to experiment and look at. So I'm going to teach them how to make a nice living. All they got to do is fix this place up. Just take up the trash and put some carpets down and some chairs, and they got it made. Serve some tea up here and let the people sit around and look at the pyramids. I'm sure the top floor is spectacular. I'm absolutely certain of it. Just haven't gone up there yet.
So, as you know, the champion of the Great Pyramid holds the Guinness Book of World Records for the fastest time up and down the Great Pyramid. He used to run for Khrushchev and all of the people in those days. That's long since passed away. It's sad being here today because my precious one, Mona, lost her husband, the champion's son, Ramadan, quite a few years ago, and she has not remarried. It's very sad. And she's so sad all the time, and I have to get her happy. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but maybe God will help me. So, this morning I want to talk to you about a subject called Rostau. The great Sphinx of Giza was called the guardian of Rostau, the guardian of the spirit, the guardian of the underworld. And I will discuss that with you in time. It is not at all what the Egyptologists are telling you in the books. They're completely wrong about a lot of it. They have some of the glyphs wrong, which is where most of the problem comes from. Rostau is called the underworld. It's a huge area that the soul goes to once you pass, and there are many sections in it, and I will be explaining to you about it. But the Sphinx is the guardian of the entrance to Rostau. One of those entrances is still there at the pyramid, and I'm hoping with a little exploration that I might be able to find it. One of my friends informed me that he had found some kind of an entrance down under the Sphinx, and he lives here in the village, and he hasn't told anybody about it, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but I'll find out. And believe me, I'll go down in there. I'm not afraid of nothing, so I've got myself back. 73 years old, still crawling around playing Indiana Jones, but what can I say? The wonderful fast that I've been on has completely cleared me, and I have now lost about 15 pounds, and I feel like a spry chicken. I go walking every day on the Giza Plateau like I used to, and I hope to get up to like 10 miles of exploration, looking around, just seeing what I find and see what spirit shows me. These monuments are full of mystery, and underneath the Giza Plateau are honeycombs of tombs and chambers, miles and miles and miles of them, and no one really knows where they go. But Dr. Z and I are going to be talking about this pretty soon. I talked to him the other day. By accident, I butt dialed him. And I told him Mabruk, and he said, what? And I said, I know you're messing around over there about Amenhotep, son of Hapu's great temple. I said, I think you may have found a tomb. He goes, what do you mean? I said, you know what I mean. Don't you know what you mean? Or when are you going? He said, Thursday. I said, Yella, why haven't you gone before? He said, I've been busy. I said, okay. Well, I think you could have found some kind of tomb, and we discussed it for a few minutes. He said, why did you call me? I said, it was a butt dial, an accident. But obviously I'm supposed to be talking to you, so we had a wonderful chat, and I hope to see him when I go back down to Luxor, but I'm not going down there for a while. I've got a lot to do up here. It looks like I may be staying up here for a while. We want to make a movie. We got lots of things going on, and right now I'm trying to put the hotel that I live in into being a writer's gathering place for writers and artists of Egyptian people, not necessarily foreigners. This is what I want to do for my friends, because there is no business here, which is the greatest thing of all for me right now, because I don't have a bunch of tourists bothering me. Anyway, we'll talk later, and I'll discuss Rostau with you when I am over by the Sphinx later. What is this? Looks like some kind of water feature. I'm not sure. It's right in front of the temple here. I'm going to pan around so you can look at it. Look at it. Look at that. Look at that. And here is Rostau. Rostau, Lord Rostau. Alright? Now, this is a part of the original area, which it looks to me like a water feature of some kind. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong many times. It doesn't bother me. But I'm panning around so you can get a look at what's going here. And as you see here, the temple was once covered in granite. And the granite was cut to face these ancient pieces which were here before. So this temple has been restored. Now look at the top there. You see that indentation? What is that? What stood in there? What was that? Was that some kind of, who knows what was in there, all right? And I used to be, oh, it's still there, all right. Beloved, forever. And it's disappearing now. The Dr. Chalk and I, when we were here before, we filmed it
and I explained to him what it meant in hieroglyphs. Beloved forever, which is very beautiful. It's the only thing that was left, and it's fading away now. So now you're looking at the so-called Temple of Khafra, which is actually, this is the temple of here, very ancient temple in the front, was the initiation chambers of the 12 hours of the day and night, guarded over by Lord Rostau. Not Rothschild, Rostau. Lord Rostau only guarded over hordes of money. He never guarded anything else. But anyway, I call him Lord Rostau. I refuse to call him anything else now because I know who he is. And it took me till 73 years of age to finally be initiated to know what it is. What's going on here, what went on here, what's still going on here. Those of you who come to Egypt and are lucky enough to go inside the Great Pyramid are going to go through an initiation, no matter who you're with, and even if you're with a bunch of dumb-skulled tourists that know nothing, all of you are going to be initiated, all right? Because the King's Chamber is an active and wonderful transformer of energy, antimatter to matter, matter to antimatter, and we'll discuss that when I'm up in the Great Pyramid. I'll even take you through an initiation of a very great soul whose name I shall not mention. Good morning. I cannot believe this. I'm the only one on the Giza Plateau. There's no tourists, there's no people, there's nothing. It's just me and the Sphinx, the way I like it. All right, this is the temple, so-called temple of Khafra. Pay attention. You see how these blocks are formed? They're granite, and they are ashlars, and they are put against this ancient temple, which is much, much older than Khafra, because there were a lot of things going on here where we were using powers and energies where we had to have this granite for protection. More on that later. Another so-called mummification room, which of course it was not. I'll tell you about it later. The whole thing is granite and sandstone and limestone. This is on your way up as you're going toward Rostau, where the priest used to dress and the initiates were prepared before they were brought in front of Rostau. Okay, now. Okie dokie. Slowly, slowly. شوية شوية. عشان I'm old. ممكن مات بكرة. Maybe I'm going to die tomorrow. I'm old. I feel old. ممكن حبيبي خلاص. ممكن روح الله. ممكن. Maybe I'm going to die tomorrow and go to God.
حبيبي انت لسه شباب.
Huh?
انت لسه شباب.
Ah, Rostau. Look at this. Ah, جميل بس. ما فيش ناس هنا. No people here.
لسه.
فين؟
Good morning.
أنا عارف.
لسه بدري.
في مخ.
لسه بدري. انت عندك مخ وتيجي بدري.
أنا عارف. I don't want to have people here. I told him.
You have people here.
أنا مس ما فيش شوف الناس هنا.
انت بتحبيش تشوف الناس هنا؟
عشان كله مجنون. They're all crazy.
كله كريزي.
أنا عارف هذا. صح؟
صح.
أيوه. خد. This man is helping me because I'm so old. I'm fucking. My language. I shouldn't say that in front of Rostau.
الكرسي هنا؟
ممكن.
ممكن
It's
عينيا.
going to bring me a chair. There is something good about being an old bag. I can't believe it. I'm the only person on the Giza Plateau. Believe it or not. Believe it or stuff it, as they used to say. There's no tourists. There's nothing. Just the watchman and me and this great Rostau. I do not call this. I do not call this one. Okay. دي صلي دي؟
يا كويس.
صلي ولا إيه؟
لا لا لا.
I asked him if that was a prayer carpet. I'm not going to sit on it if it is. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay. Just a moment, please. Where's that thing? I can never find that stupid thing that turns this around. Where is it? Just a moment. The guardian of the threshold, the terror of the threshold. The Egyptians knew this. The Rosicrucians knew this.
Mm-hmm.
It means facing your own annihilation. It means the terror of the threshold, stepping over into the initiatory chambers when you will never be the same. Huh? And that's who he is. He's the guardian of all that is. Lord Rostau, which is what I call him, Lord of the guardian. He's not the Sphinx. He's Horimaket, Horus on the horizon. He who is able to see from a mile up a mouse. Horus, the son of Osiris, the great sun child. The pharaohs were all called sons of Horus. They all wanted to be associated with him because he was the perfect warrior, the perfect defender of right, the perfect man. And so beautiful you could not look at him without being annihilated. He looked like an angel. He looks like he's made up of light on a higher plane, so you can't really look at him, all right? I had an initiation in the Temple of Horus at Edfu, and I fell on the ground and passed out because I couldn't deal with the energy. But he did show his face to me for 1 second. Now, you know it's interesting because Moses was told, do not, God told him, get behind that rock because you cannot stand to be near me or you'll be annihilated. Now, it's not because God was going to punish him. It was because God is made of such energy that even if he even looked 1 second, he would be annihilated. It's kind of like embracing a lightning bolt. All right, people. What are we going to talk about now? Rostau. Good morning. This is Khadija Hammond from the Giza Plateau. Behind me is the guardian of the necropolis called the Lord of Rostau. And this morning I want to talk to you about what is Rostau, and most of you have no idea, including you Egyptologists with your PhDs. All right. He was called Horimaket. Horus on the horizon, the eye of God watching over all. This is not Khafra, although he may have repaired it. This is a very ancient statue going back to where the Zulu people were once here. And at that point it was a lion. And I know this from Credo Mutwa, who is a Zulu medicine man and who told us that the Zulu at one time were here. And they had built this as a lion to represent the greatest beast on the planet. And so later on it was carved to represent the face of Khafra, who was aspiring to be a high initiate in the mysteries. Now Rostau is an area where you enter after you die. Excuse me, I have a little sweat in my eyes, no problem. It is a real place. The Egyptians were not fairy tale people. They knew exactly what they were talking about. Their civilization went back 3,000 years. And they knew secrets that we don't even know. All right? They knew how the bodies were formed, which I will explain all that to you later. Excuse me, I'm going in my eyes. But Rostau, which I love to call him the Lord of Rostau, the guardian, he is who you face before you're allowed to even enter into Rostau. And if you don't pass the test, you disintegrate. Now, Rostau is an area where the dead go in judgment. You see it on the walls of the temple. Excuse me. I'm going to take you into the tombs and show you exactly what it means. But this temple was built for the 12 hours of the day and night, in which Ra was swallowed by what the goddess Nut, who represents the universe, and reborn as Hathor in the morning. And that's very, very symbolic. There was another spiritual sun. We're not talking about this physical sun, you idiots with the PhDs. We're talking about the spiritual sun, which was swallowed. And this is symbolic of the light passing into the darkness after an incarnation, which is what happens to all of us. And the Egyptians understood this all too well. So you had all of the things you did in your life that you were sitting in judgment of. You were judged, not by some weird figure, but by your own self, which represent Osiris, the god of the dead. And more about that later, but let's get to Rostau. This is what I want to talk about. This area, it's horrifying, and it's where you go once you die. There is in it, if you don't pass, you go to a place called, the ancients call, the chaotic area, where you are swallowed by Apep, the god of destruction, chaos, and you disintegrate. Now, what's interesting is when I studied in India, they call it the condition of the waveless, where someone is so evil that their body can no longer incarnate. Their soul separates from their body and everything is annihilated. It's what people think death is, but it isn't. Rostau is where you are judged by what you did in your life. And you'll see pictures of Rostau, different areas of Rostau where the soul is judged, where either you are allowed to pass if you know the word, or you are disintegrated. Now, I found in the Quran yesterday,
I couldn't believe it. I'm going to read it to you before I hang here. A description of Avicii, or a description of the nun, which is the condition of the waveless, the beginning, the very beginning of the universe, where matter is all kept together, and it's antimatter. It goes antimatter, matter, antimatter, matter, antimatter, matter. And I talked to a physicist about this yesterday. We were talking about the pyramid, and I was sitting there going, are you kidding me? Because I'm meditating on the plateau and I'm watching the Giza pyramid spewing out matter like you cannot believe, spewing it out. And I said, holy shit, what's going on? So later I said, oh my God, I remember being down in the pit when I was younger. And the pyramid has an area they don't understand. It goes way down in the ground. It's the pit. And nobody knows what went on down there, but I will tell you I had an initiation down there at the age of 22. It's completely black. It looks like the nun. It looks like the antimatter. It looks like what everything looks like when it goes back into what is called in India Paralaya and Manvantara. Paralaya is rest, Manvantara is creation, and they had the same thing here in Egypt. So then you have this grand gallery with which I remember thinking, this is some sort of instrument when I saw it at the age of 20, 22. And I climbed it, and I said, there's something going on here. It used to. Something slid up and down, and it wasn't just a sarcophagus either, children. It doesn't make sense because the sarcophagus would not fit through the hole there. So something slid up and down, and they had grooves on either side. Well, I'll show you when I take you into the Great Pyramid. So the pyramid is actually a generator. All three of them are generators. All pyramids are generators, even the ones that are formed naturally in the desert. And they convert antimatter to matter, all right? This is something for you scientists to think about. I spoke with my physicist friend yesterday, and we discussed it, all right? We're not sure whether, we know Khufu was buried there, and all the pharaohs were buried there. Why? Because they were disintegrated back into their bodies, back into antimatter, or back into the constituents that made up their bodies in the first place. I'm speaking pretty fast. I hope you can follow me because I don't want anybody coming in here while I'm discussing this with you. Feel free to share this far and wide. This is new information nobody knows. John, you were on the right path, but you didn't have it all, honey. I'm sorry. Hadn't been for me, you wouldn't have had Sphinx, you wouldn't have had your film in the first place.
John Anthony
West. But we needed to take steps, and of course it's older. As I said, the Zulus say it's maybe 25,000 years old, and they actually... their people, their initiates carved it. And then when Sahara became dry, the people, the Zulu people migrated south. But excuse me, all of you white supremacists, but there's a lot of black people who were initiates, and originally the Great Sphinx was black, all right? Sorry, but that's the truth. It was carved by the ancestors of the Zulu, or the Shemsu Hor, who came long before. They're talked about the sons of Horus, the Shemsu Hor, who came before the first dynastic period, and they were called the sons of Horus, and they walked the earth, and they were giants. And this goes back, they talked about it quite a bit. The Egyptians talked about the days of the Shemsu Hor. And I remember discussing with Dr. Bakra one time. We were standing out there when we were doing Mysteries of the Sphinx, and Dr. Bakra said, but Khadija, I can't have them saying that the Great Sphinx was not carved by Egyptians. I said, Dr. Bakra, listen, we are older, the Egyptians. We're far older. We're older than the 4th dynastic time. We're older than the pre-dynastic times. We go back long, long ago. Okay, somebody's coming. I want to read something from the Quran to you. I was talking to you about Avicii, the condition of the waveless, when everything goes back into a state of non-being, so to speak. As for those who disbelieve, their deeds are as a mirage in a desert. The thirsty ones suppose it's water, till they cometh unto it and find it not, and find it in the place thereof, Allah, who payeth him his due, and Allah is swift at reckoning. Now listen to this. Or, as darkness on a vast abysmal sea, there covereth him a wave, above which is a wave, above which is a cloud, layer upon layer of darkness. When he holdeth out his hand, he scarce can see it. And for he for whom Allah hath not appointed light, for him there is no light. Hast thou not seen that Allah, he who is, whom all are in the heavens and the earth praise, and the birds in their flight? Of each he knoweth verily the worship and the praise. God is aware of all that you do. Now, substitute Allah for God if it bothers you, all right? Go read the Bible, the whatever it is, the Upanishads, Buddhist teachings, whatever. But no, there's only one. And Allah, God, is only one. So I showed you just now the condition of the waveless in the Quran, which they knew about, the mystics knew about, and they taught. And believe me, if you ever go there and see it, you will not believe the terror. It's called the terror of the threshold. I went through the initiation years ago when I almost died. I was shown, and it's the most horrifying thing you have ever imagined. Imagine standing on an abyss of total blackness, darkness, non-being. And the last thing that you remember is as your energy is moving to the top of your head is that you shall die. And that there will be nothing, 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 nothing. Having a good laugh. They're chasing all of the people out of here so I can speak. And they are so nice. تعالي يا هويا تعالي يا هويا كلم أنا تعالي هنا تعالي أنت تعالي هنا شكرا جزيلا عشان كله نظيف مبروك شكرا حبيب شكرا. I said thank you for cleaning. The temple is clean, and I give him a little bakshish. That's what I do. I love the people which work here and keep this place eco-friendly. شوف يا حبيبي eco-friendly دي. That's good. That's what it says on the back with Horus. أنا مبسوطة كديرة. He just threw the trash out. I have more fun with them. I love them. The people that come here every day, that work here in the pyramids. The simple, lovely people that sweep the trash of these stupid tourists who don't know this is the most holy place on the earth. And the guys are out with the camels running up to hopefully catch some tourists this morning. And I'm taking a little rest, you know. It can be very tiring. But anyway, you can see where I'm sitting, all right? Eat your heart out. How many times have you come over here to the Sphinx and been by yourself? Not one human being except for the guardians. I was laughing so hard. I was walking past all these shops and none of them were open.
Yeah, it's cool.
I said, Rostau has made my way because he's ready for people to know who he really is. All right? This is not a portrait of Khafra, you stupid idiots. This is Lord Rostau, guardian of the secrets. And if you face him when you die and you don't have the right answer, ma salama, as they say. Bye-bye. Anyway, I'm a Sphinx person. I'm called the Sphinx Lady. It's funny about that because I used to live right over there. And an Australian lady told me I was the Sphinx Lady, Lady of the Sphinx. So that's my email address, sphinxlady@yahoo.com. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions. There are secrets which you will never know because not until you die will you be initiated. But all of you are going to die. Trust me on that. And all of you who have so much material things that you didn't pay one bit of attention to the development of your soul, nor did you pay the least bit of attention to the fact there are many people who need help, nor did you pay the least bit of attention to the fact that the earth is polluted, thanks to us. Now Sekhmet has brought a curse upon all of us, and we have the coronavirus. And I knew it 2 years ago, and I warned everybody. I warned my husband. I said, Sekhmet's sending a plague. It's going to wipe out 1/3 of the planet. Nobody believed me. They thought it was a stupid old cat woman. Well, I'm an old cat woman, but I'm not stupid. Later, Gator, when we're in Luxor, I'll take you in to see her. Where do you see her? Ha! She is terrifying. Love to you all. Do something to help someone else today. Stop thinking about yourself and laying around watching TV. How about getting online and cheering up everybody? Now, I will tell you this, what I think. The coronavirus is evolving. The coronavirus has changed 14 times already. That's why they can't make a vaccine. The protein in which it attaches to the cell has changed 10 times. It's moving very rapidly, and I'm asking the collective consciousness of it to go ahead and go ahead and mutate itself out of the human race. It has other things to do. Just like, how about getting a book called The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton and educate yourselves. Love you all, live from the Giza Plateau. God bless. Share this with everybody, far and wide. Bye. Good morning from the Giza Plateau. I am in the middle of a lot of tourism now. Unfortunately, I should have come earlier this morning, but I wanted to speak to you about the three bodies. Embodiment, we are now with Lord Rostau, the opener of the ways, the keeper of the great secrets. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your bodies. Today, you are aware of your physical body. Sometimes you are aware of your electrical body when someone startles you. You feel it then, or if you have a heart attack, or if you have an electrical problem, such as a stroke, or if you burn out your brain in whatever way you do. That's one body. Then you have another body, which is the emotional body, which is how you feel about things and store in the memory bank. And then you have your soul, which is God's breath within us all, called Akh, A-K-H in ancient Egypt. It was the golden crested ibis bird, which was the symbol of the Akh, and which the great pharaoh Akh in Aten used in his name, which does not mean in service to Aten, you dumb Egyptologists, but it means my soul is one with God. Akh in Aten. So he was the embodiment and the bringer of the message of the higher knowledge in his time, and he was treated like a prophet. He suffered and was treated exactly like Christ, Buddha, almost any of the other great masters always seemed to get murdered or otherwise done away with. Now, Tutankhamun was buried in a nest of coffins very much like Russian dolls. Each of these coffins represented one of his bodies. Each one was holy, and that's true of all of your body. Now, the reason that they removed the organs for mummification is simply because of the problem of the deterioration of the physical vehicle, which they tried to keep intact as long as possible so the soul could access this information. That's why you have a false door on the tombs. It's no such thing as a false door, okay? Just for you people that have PhDs, listen up. There is a portal, but it is not a physical portal. It's a portal of spiritual dimensions where you go and come. And you can go and come and visit and whatever. Most people say when they die, they leave their body, they look down and they see the body stretched out there dead. In many near-death experiences, you see that. The only thing keeping you alive is a tiny string which connects your physical heart with the great spiritual heart in your soul. Once this is broken, you die. We know this in ancient Egypt. That's why we respected every single vehicle as a holy thing. Now, the Ba, which they used a symbol of a human head with a bird, to come back and forth in between the worlds and visit the body. For whatever lessons the soul was going through at the time, they were accessing this information through the so-called false door, which is nothing more than a physical representation of the tunnel that you see when you die. So they came back and forth accessing this information. They were experts when it came to death and the life process, because the Egyptians had a civilization that lasted well over 3,000 years. We haven't even come close to what they were. They knew all about it, folks. Now, another thing I want to tell you is these pyramids are not tombs, although the pharaohs were buried in there because of the greatness of the energy coursing through from the pit to the top, which was transmutation of energy, transmutation of matter to antimatter, and antimatter to matter, and it's going on to this day. And the pyramid shape, as I have told you, even in the desert, even the natural, in the white desert, this pyramid that are naturally formed are also changing matter. And you can watch if you have eyes to see. So I'm telling you some things now for you. Another thing I'm telling you is to hang on. The coronavirus is raging. She is going to transmute herself completely out of the human race, but not until she gets finished with us. We deserve it richly. And if I get it, I'm okay with it, because I'm one of the ones who's responsible for not taking care of this planet. And so those of you who that used to teach you to take care of each other, those of you who are in your homes, do something good for somebody. Quit sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. Get online, contact your family, tell them you love them. Send some flowers to someone. You can do that, FTD. Do something good with your time. And I'll be back to discuss more with you later as we go down to Tel El Amarna by car. Stay tuned, and please share this with everyone. Don't just look at it, but share it. I want it to go viral. I'm taking you through Egypt. Those of you who cannot come to this beautiful country, you will come at the end of next year when the virus gets through at us. Save your money. Do something good. Love you. And from the Giza Plateau and from the great Rostau himself. Bye-bye. Good morning from the Giza Plateau. This is Khadija Hammond, sitting with the uncle of the champion. Hello, say hello.
Hello, how are you?
These are all my old friends from 50 years back, and we're sitting to having a calcade tea, which is actually the most healthy thing you can have. It's made from the red hibiscus flower. It's very good for your blood pressure. And I'm going to be walking through my village where I lived for 10 years. And tell me something. The champion, did you ever go see him climb up the Great Pyramid?
Yeah, he climbed the pyramid before with the young 7 minutes.
Yeah, he's
up and down for 7 minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes up and 3 down, right?
Yeah.
He's in the Guinness Book of World Records. He passed away, got to be at least 25 years ago, right?
Yeah, 25 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and now...
Bye-bye, sir.
And now he is a legend. I mean, no one's ever been able to do that. As I said, he's a great, great soul. And I'm going to go to his tomb later to pay my respects, because he was like my father. I lived here in this village for 10 years. And everybody, it's very early in the morning here in Giza. It is almost 7:30. And so I came out for a walk this morning to get a walking stick, because my leg, I have a bad hip. Unfortunately, I don't pay attention, and I thought I could do it myself and get it going, but unfortunately old age is old age. All right, I'm not going to tell you my age. All right, I'm 73. Malish, it's my favorite word. Malish means never mind. It means that's okay. It means whatever. It's the best word in the dictionary, in the Arabic dictionary. So I'm having this calcade. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Hang on, I got to get used to this thing here. Morning of peppers. That's the calcade right there. All right, it's very good for you. If you want to get it in the States, all you have to do is get red hibiscus, red zinger, but you have to make like the whole box for it to be as strong as it is in Egypt. Egypt has the best red hibiscus flower, and they really count a lot on herbs here more than anything. They have some great cures here. There's special teas for the stomach. There are teas for headaches, and there are hundreds of different teas that they have developed over the years. And what is the one for the stomach called? I forgot the name of it. The tea for the stomach. That's good for the stomach. The special yellow
tea.
Yellow tea. It's some kind of tea for the tummy.
Green.
Huh?
Green tea.
No, not green tea.
No.
It's fenugreek. It's the drug fenugreek. It's the spice fenugreek. They make a tea from it. They have a name for it, and I can't think of it now. It's in Arabic. But it's the best thing for the tummy if you got an upset tummy. Now, let me give you guys some sage advice.
Stomach mint.
Mint is very good, but this is not what I'm talking about. It'll come to me in a minute. I haven't drank it in a while. But last night, let me tell you people, if you visit Egypt or any foreign country, take a word of advice from an old flight attendant. Take yourself a little bottle of brandy if you can get one of those, a couple of those things off the airplane, or if you can get some wine in the country you're in. If you have an upset stomach whatsoever, you drink a shot of brandy and it should do it. That's what happened to me last night. I got very nauseated, So I drank a little glass of wine. Kalas, no problem. No problem in more ways than one. I was feeling pretty good. So anyway, here's where I am, and you can look back there and see the village. And I'll be back talking to you later. Everybody's here at the coffee shop, the early birds. See the man, he has prayer beads in his hand. And those are wonderful. If you're fidgety, you can say God, hey, Jesus, you can say Buddha, whatever you want to say. And twiddle those little things, and it keep you from smoking cigarettes, otherwise bad habits. But you guys that are watching, God bless all of you. Keep up with me on Facebook. I'm doing a live presentation. I'm bringing Egypt to you since you can't come here. And I hope you don't get disgusted with the COVID. This is nature's Brillo pad, whether you know it or not. For the first time, we are starting to see blue skies in places where it was polluted.
True.
So it's not done yet, but it'll be done by the end of this year. Okay, I have a good feeling about it. Don't worry about it. Do everything you always wanted to do. Those of you bragging, I'm going to write a book, why don't you do it? You're stuck in your house, you can't go out, write a chapter a day, and in 30 days you have a book, all right? I've written 8 so far, working on 9, 10, and 11 at once. So love you all, and take care of yourself, and I'll be back with you later.
That was awesome.
Well done.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you, guys.
That was well done. Yeah. I felt like you were there, you know? Yeah.
I grow those rosellas.
Yeah?
Yeah, I make tea and jam with them.
Well, the tea that I was trying to talk about is made from the spice fenugreek. It's called helba. Helba. It's a yellow tea. It's very good for your tummy. If you have an upset tummy, you drink that. Just get yourself some fenugreek, boil it, drink it. I think the brandy's the best. Let me tell you, I have learned how to make blue lotus medicine.
Mm.
And now I took a blue lotus medicine yesterday because I started getting a really bad chest cold and I lost my voice. And I said, oh, are you a COVID down in there by any chance? All right, I said, I'm going out with a bang. So I took 2 tablespoons of blue lotus elixir.
Mm-hmm.
My lungs opened up, my chest opened up, my nose opened up. And the side effect is I needed a lover, but my husband is not here. 74 going on 15 is ridiculous. I don't know if it's good or not, but I tell you what, it would take 50 undertakers 10 hours to get the smile off my face. That stuff.
Oh dear.
I am going to be making it. We're going to be making it. It'll be available pretty soon. It'll be the medicine. It's going to be the blue lotus elixir, I'm going to call it, because it's a secret. I'm not telling anybody what's in it. Because I found a way to take it from the real, from the lotus flower itself in a sacrificial and holy way in which the plant is not damaged, but gives itself to this elixir and gives its energy. I don't like distillation. Distillation is violence. CO2, any of that stuff. I don't like that. I used to be really into essential oils. I knew Gary Young of Gary Young Essential Oils before he started the company. I knew him like he's $1 billion company now. And he used to be the world expert. And I met him in Giza. He's walking down the street, and well, it's quite interesting. All right, let's see. Condo for interstellar visitors reflect Orion the same way as rich people try to reflect their surroundings through architecture. 3 mirror pyramids were built as a condo for interstellar visitor. Baby, where the hell are they going to land? I mean, that thing is not, it's not a condo. You go up in there and trust me.
See, what's really interesting is that a lot of archaeologists say that the 3 pyramids correspond to Orion's belt. That being the case, if you maintain the same proportions, Robert Bauval, exactly. Like if you maintain those proportions, that means there's like 4 other pyramids around it are missing, basically, and those would be somewhere directly in the center of Cairo, covered up by modern architecture.
Well, I could tell you the Sphinx looked like Elvis too. Very few little mathematical things they're tweaking, you know. People
Yeah.
come up with all these ideas. I don't know myself. I'm very open-minded, but I did meet Robert Bivol. It was interesting. A friend of mine she's a former friend of mine, introduced me to Robert Bivol at the Mina House Hotel. And he looked at me and he went, didn't even say, how are you? I went, what the hell is your problem? First of all, his problem is he's 4'2". He's 4 feet 2 inches. That's the problem. So, you know, and I don't necessarily believe all that about that stuff. Just because they come out with the idea doesn't mean it's the correct one. Even me may be wrong. The truth may be somewhere a third point. I don't know. All I know is that they knew about astrology, astronomy, everything.
Mandy had a question for you, Khadijah.
Okay.
Mandy, do you want to ask it, or Lori?
Can't hear you, Mandy.
Can't hear you, Mandy. You got to turn up your mic.
I saw you sleeping. I think Mandy was meditating at one point, or sleeping, one or the other.
Here it is. I've got it. So she's wondering if you've looked over these areas with a UV light at all.
No. When I was there, such a thing didn't exist, honey. UV lights were not. Nobody did anything with those. I mean, it's a good point. Maybe I should do that.
She's been using it, testing it on different rocks to see if she can get.
Yeah, like Uperlite.
Uperlite, yeah. She's showing it now.
Darling, do you know how big the Great Pyramid is? That's about the size of.
There you go.
Oh my God.
I have no idea, but I was just interested because I thought if the Egyptians understood that for every amount of light we have, we are going to experience the same amount of darkness, then I believe that some of their sites you would be able to see in different light spectrums and have things stand out that aren't necessarily going to stand out from the light spectrum that we're seeing now. Because as you also know, it all depends on our frequency as opposed to how we necessarily see things or like the spectrum of light sometimes. So it was just something that I'm curious about, and I have no idea how big it is, and I couldn't imagine going over it with a little handheld torch, but it would be very interesting.
I will tell you an experience that I had with a man named Tim Coleman, who makes documentary films. He's a very wonderful person. And I took Tim into the Great Pyramid. I used to be able to take people in there all the time. It wasn't a problem. And you didn't have to pay $1,000 either. I mean, we just go in. So we went in to do some filming. And so my friend, the champion, told the tourists, this is what he did. He turned all the lights off. And when the tour buses drove up, he said, Haram, I'm so sorry. You have to go to the second pyramid because we can't get the lights to work. So we were in the Great Pyramid, in the King's Chamber. And he was keeping the tourists. So anyway, as we got in there and they turned the light off, and I did some chanting, all of a sudden you could see this beautiful blue violet light. I said, Tim, do you see that? He goes, no. I said, Tim, I can see the door where you come in. I can see it in this light. It's this blue violet light. Do you see it? No. I said, you eat so much meat, maybe you get clean, you could see shit, you know, I don't know. But anyway, so anyway.
You're creating frequency.
I have stayed in it overnight 4 times by myself in the King's Chamber. And what I want to do is take you live inside the King's Chamber and spend the night there. How does that sound?
Sounds
Be with me.
Yeah.
That
Tell us,
sounds excellent.
you know, you've been the past couple times I've talked to you. You've stressed the importance of getting this information out. Now, we know that over time, there's been numerous philosophers, Egyptologists, historians that have visited over the centuries this area. They all attest to being down under there, seeing things of great wonder, seeing the labyrinth, seeing the hallways, seeing the tunnels. They've described these things in detail.
Yeah.
We know that the Egyptian antiquities authorities have set on this information. We even know they gave John Anthony West the boost when he went in there and discovered ways in through the Sphinx. We've had questions here tonight. Is there really openings in the head of the Sphinx, behind the ear, under the paws? You made reference to one. What is it that you think is being withheld from us? Why do we need to know it? And why now, after all this time?
I've known Dr. Zahi 50 years, and I know him in a way a lot of people don't.
Right.
He and I've done the quackomaniac stuff. I've studied everything I could do. I could talk that talk with him, all right? But I don't necessarily agree with it. And I remember when we were doing the mysteries of the Sphinx, I would go up there to his office and sit my butt down and say, I want to see Dr. Z. And they go, do you have an appointment? I said, of course not. I don't have a phone. How am I supposed to make an appointment? That was back in the old days. And I'd go and sit with him for hours and we discussed things. Now, he told me once, he said, Khadija, listen, if I didn't have a tough face and if I wasn't as tough as I am, they would walk all over me. I said, you're right. You're right. Mm-hmm. And he is the one, a couple of times I went in and I said, he goes, what are these people doing, Khadija? They're saying all kinds of things. They're saying people from outer space built the pyramids. They're saying things. I can't do that. He said, that doesn't work. I said, Dr. Zahi, I said, what if all of you are wrong? What if all of you are wrong? You're wrong, they're wrong. The truth is the third point you haven't even found yet. You know, I said, let it happen. I said, any press is better than no press. Let them go ahead, because it hit the newspapers and it hit the New York Times and it started getting rolling, you know, the mysteries of the Sphinx. I was sitting in the bus and I said, John, you're going to win an Emmy. And he said, oh, Khadija, John Anthony West, you're crazy. I had a vision of him getting the Emmy. It took 4 years for that to manifest, but I saw it. I saw him getting an Emmy. I said, you're going to win an Emmy for Best Documentary. And have you touched those stones to see if you get visions of the energy in the past or what the granite reveal?
Yes, you've had visions, haven't you?
Many. Have you got 10 hours? I mean, my God, so much happened. I don't know. I can't profess to say that I know what it means. I just say that I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot.
I have a question about the granite also, is how come, so from my understanding of granite, it will continue to grow. You will continue to have the crystalline structure within the granite continue to grow, except in these sites where you find that the granites, the megalithic structures are built out of granite. You don't see the same crystalline growth within that granite that you would necessarily see elsewhere. And it's not even because the rocks have been moved, because you could move granite elsewhere and you'll still see the crystallization growth within that. Is that displayed within the pyramids?
You're very lucky I'm a rock hound like you. Inside the king's chamber, the granite is laced with pink quartz. Try to imagine. It's little, you could see it in there, all in there, sparkling in the light. And I said, what in God's name did they do? Why did they need pink quartz? Why did they need to line this chamber with this kind of very heavy duty stone, as though they were dealing with high energy? Now, I do music. Music has always been a big thing with me. And I'm a serious musician and singer. And I could set off that sarcophagus with certain words, which I'm not going to tell you guys because it doesn't make sense. When you're with me in the pyramid, you'll see. It actually starts toning in different levels. And it sounds like a choir in there. I'm not kidding. It's unbelievable. It's sound chamber. So I know they did something in there with sound. There was sound mysteries going on because, you know, matter can be changed by music, by a sound. Do you ever go to like the Exploratorium in San Francisco where they have a great big cymbal, and then they have iron shavings, and you do a violin bow, and it makes all these beautiful patterns. Every time you go, it makes a pattern like a snowflake.
Sounds vibration.
Yeah, right. So I'm absolutely sure, because we took a man, Mysteries of the Sphinx, we had this guy from Vice President of National Cash Register Association. And he said to me, I want to hunt me some ducks. I said, well, you have to go to the Delta to hunt you some ducks, because I said, we don't have any here. And he had a stroke in his hand like this, right? And I said, what's the matter with your hand? You had a stroke. So me and Boris and John Anthony West went up into the king's chamber with this man. And I started toning. And the sarcophagus starts ringing. It's unbelievable what happens when you do the toning. And I look at this man, and I go, what is he doing? His hand was like this. Now, mind you, his hand was like this before.
Wow.
His hand, when he was doing this with his hand, I said, holy crap. He actually healed his hand. It was like he had a stroke, and it was this way. When he walked out, he looked at me, he said, he's a real country boy. He goes, there might be something to this damn pyramid power.
Wow.
Well, I like to make the joke that the pyramid in ancient times served as a foreign currency generator, the same purpose it serves today.
Foreign currency generator. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
As a joke,
Sound, and sound is what is our new healer rather than medicine. Plant medicine, natural plant medicine. God did not make weeds. Every plant has a purpose.
No, that's right.
Sound, and that's all you need. Mm-hmm. I have a friend of mine now. She's got COVID. She's been very ill, but she's I said to her, use eucalyptus globulus and pine on your chest and frankincense.
Yeah.
She kicked it. She kicked COVID in the ass.
Because everything carries a note. Every herb carries a note. It's for all of us. Everything.
Rediscovering
Same with garlic.
Medicine.
Yeah,
Garlic,
natural medicine.
It's not only COVID that will leave you alone. I made some spaghetti. I made some spaghetti last night with cream sauce and natural basil with garlic. And I put a lot of garlic in there. I said to myself, Self, why don't you put a lot of garlic in there? And I thought, woo! You know that song? There's a song. Onions, fa la la. Ooh, I love onions. That's how we used to feed the ancient people.
That's also why the garlic is symbolized in Russian sacred architecture with the onion domes, because the onion and the garlic are shaped very similarly. Yeah, that's one of my theories.
Look at how it's spelled.
Right.
Yeah.
Onion.
About the shape of the domes of the churches being reminiscent of the onion and the garlic.
I love Russian architecture. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends in Russia, actually. I have a friend of mine that's a nuclear physicist, and he's a Buddhist. He's so funny. He is the most profound human being. And I thought, all those people in my country try to make me despise and be scared of Russians all my life. Russians are going to get you. You better build yourself a shelter. I got all these Russian friends over here in Egypt. And I love Slavic mind. Slavic mind, very deep,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Went to Yugoslavia once, and the people reminded me of Americans, except they were smarter.
Mandy, did you have a question for her about?
Yeah, so I was just also curious on the golden disc. So, because you've also researched the Dogon tribe, so is that correct?
No,
okay. Sorry,
I know who they are. No, I know who the Dogon are, and I have read something about it. Anything about the light of the world. Somebody's saying.
Yeah, does she know anything about the light of the world?
What do you mean by that? Slightly slanted sleuth.
Slightly slanted sleuth. His name is Steve Stone. Steve Stone, right.
You are the light of the world, darling. All of you.
It's true.
It's the truth. You.
That's it.
You.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about sound just for a second, I wanted to put a plug in here for Michelle Marie of the Body Owl Mastering Mindset. She just posted the other day an article. Well, she's been doing some studies into the CIA documents on sound and frequency. She says brain synchronization was a key takeaway to the report that she was reading based on David Bohm's research. It does work. I can't believe I figured it out, and I'm offering full frequency alignments with sound in addition to my other energy techniques. Sound is a key for so much. It's amazing, and I'm trying to get funding for further research. So she's actually, if you don't follow Michelle Marie at Mastering Mindset, you can find her on Facebook. She's telling you to to link. We also have her on the Queen of Quartz Crystal Network. You could book an appointment with her and start looking at following her on Facebook, and she's doing a lot with sound and energy healing. I myself am interested in seeing some of what she's doing. But Khadijah, you mentioned to me a couple of times now that you feel the pyramids are still highly activated. A lot of people are saying they're not active anymore. And that
that's what you say, fuzzy face. You come to Egypt, I'll sit your ass down, and you tell me
not
it's
me.
not active.
I'm just not me. I didn't know.
I'm not talking about you, Teresa. I'm talking whoever said that. They are so active. It's unbelievable. In fact, I'm going up there next month. I'm going to Cairo. I'm going to Giza. I have to be by the Blue Lotus because the Blue Lotus is starting to bloom. My friend, we're getting ready to start the farms up in Aswan.
Right.
And we're having a business meeting about how we're going to do it. Also, I have to be careful what I say. Who was it? Was it you, Teresa? Your master talked to you? One of you? Was it Lori? Was it you or Teresa?
It was me.
It was Lori's
It was
master.
me. Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful what I say, okay? I got to be very careful because people are tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
And people from the government are tuning in. Hi! Tell Cece I'll see him next week. But anyway, I'm hoping to get to be.
Can I just say something? The word that you said, Lord Rostau, however you pronounce it, that word came to me 12 years ago or something. I don't know how it came. Yeah. And I've gone through my journal trying to find where I wrote it, because this is all my poetry and everything I've written for years. But instead of using the name, my book was called Rose to Take You. So it was the rose, like ta, as in to take, and the you on the end of it. And that's how my poetry book got its name, was from seeing that word.
That's an incredible coincidence right there.
Wow.
And I have no idea of what there was a Lord of that name. I had no idea. I just got this word. It was Rostau. And
Don't you think it's a beautiful sound? I think Rostau. It sounds so regal. There's something.
Yeah.
Rostau. P-A-U. Rostau.
Yeah, the Tau.
Well,
it's a beautiful name.
I think and Neil has mentioned what his thoughts are on it, and so far, my thoughts are that I agree with Neil at some point that Egypt became this focal center where different groups of people migrated and helped in the development and advancement of Egyptian civilization. But I think it started a lot longer ago than people think, and I do agree with you that there was this migratory pathway. Mandy has talked it over with Dalibor. We've all discussed it at the Zulu, coming up through the Nile, traveling up the Nile, helping to build that Sphinx. Who built those labyrinths? Who built those structures that are now covered by sand that the Sphinx sits on? And the Sphinx was discovered later, much later. It was covered up to its neck in sand. So at one time, that whole plateau was buried by sand, whether deliberately or not. The point is that when we look at, and we're going to have Laird, Laird Scranton on, your friend. We're going to have him on too, and we're going to ask him. He has been uncovering symbols and language, breaking down the hieroglyphs. And you have Göbekli Tepe people from that area. You've got people that left Egypt and went down to Nubia and then over to the Dogon. The Dogon tribe is believed to have come from Egypt. So you had so many people from even the Orkney Islands up in Scotland, all having a hand in the creation and development and advancement of the Egyptian civilization. Go ahead, Dalibor.
It's so ancient.
Well, see, it's interesting that what you said about the Zulu people having built the Sphinx, in that the Nile actually originates in the homeland of the Zulu people, which is Uganda, Lake Victoria. That's the origin of the Nile, going through Lake Tanganyika all the way up north through Sudan and into Egypt. So that's like the easiest mode of transport, is just get on the river, build some kind of a barge and let yourself get floated up the river towards Cairo, and you'll get there whether you want to or not, almost. So that's why Egypt was kind of like a one-dimensional country where everything was within like a 5-kilometer stretch of the delta going up and down.
I was a flight attendant for a commercial company at one time. We did charter, and I went to Uganda. And I remember we were coming in over Lake Victoria, which I am not going to call it that. When people tell me what the name is in African is what I'm going to call it. Anyway, the tears were coming down my face because that is the origin point of the blue water lily. Is the area of Uganda, and then it went from Uganda all the way down until it got to Egypt. Now, we're about to have a war with Ethiopia. I don't know if any of you know this or not. We're in serious trouble here with the damn Ethiopian government building this dam. Imagine if that was sitting there, we would have never had the blue water lily in Egypt at all. It would have caught. So they are arguing, fighting. They're trying to get people to listen because they're going to, Sisi's already told them in no uncertain terms, there is no way we're going to allow them to steal our water and take it to make electricity. My question is this: what is wrong with you people? The sun doesn't cost anything. You can do solar power all up and down the desert and light up the whole world. I don't know why they still want to dam up the Nile. So anyway,
well, the Egyptians built the Aswan Dam. The Egyptians.
I know they did. I know. The Russians. And
no, the Czechs.
Anyway,
that was
it's
the
wrong.
IPS company.
Don't you think that the great people of ancient Egypt, if they had thought about that, they could have done it? They left it alone. It's happy. It's happy, 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 happy. That's what I call it. Happy, the god of the Nile. It's a living being. They never tried to dam it up. They always let it run. It brought, every time it flooded, it brought new soil. Every time it flooded, it lifted a pile of new soil, rich soil. All they had to do, throw the seeds out, turn the donkeys loose, and the donkeys would step all over the seed, and the seed would come up, and they'd harvest it. They had it made in the shade with pink lemonade. And then here comes all these really smart people. Someone told me something yesterday that's very disturbing, and I want to share it with you guys. I don't know what you know about what's going on with Israel, but I'm living in Egypt, and the people of Egypt are very angry with the Americans, and they're very angry with the Israelis. Apparently, the Israelis are behind this dam. They are part of the problem because they want to control the Nile and therefore control Egypt. Now, I heard the same thing happen with Syria. The Euphrates River has been dammed up and messed up for the same reason. They're trying to control it. So I don't know what's going to happen. I will tell you this: we're this close. We're getting ready. Sisi's getting ready. He's got roads built. He could get the army in one day, move the whole army up by Aswan. I mean, this is what's going. And I'm trying. I said, listen, I'll take care of the problem. I can't tell you guys what I was going to do because it's secret. I said, I'll take care of that problem for you. I don't care how old. I'm going to die anyway. I just go blow the fucker up. You know.
Khadijah, we have a question from one of our Zulu, so sorry, descendants, Delaney Pearl Jones.
Wow.
Yeah,
hello.
Delaney
Hello, darling.
Pearl Jones. And she wants to know what happened to Seshat, Thoth's wife. Where did she go?
Oh, she didn't go anywhere. She's very famous. She's the goddess of writing. You always see her with the palm frond, which means years, because every time a palm has a leaf, it's a year. It falls off. It's like a little indentation. So that's what they use for years. And she's writing, and she has a cheetah skin. She's the goddess of measure and of librarians and book people. I love her. She's still around. She's still around. No, she didn't go anywhere. I call her Shazhati. I put a little E on the end because it's affection, you know. Shazhati.
Now, you've been around. Thank you for answering that question. You've been around all over to these sacred sites in Egypt. they're all still very active. You have incredible mystical experiences there, do you not? When you're alone in these chambers and
Here's what I laugh about. If you want to get initiation, you have to go alone. You're not going to go with a group of people sitting there going, "Om, om, om," you know, in the king's chamber. That doesn't work. You have to be totally by yourself in the chamber, and they lock you in. You spend the night. If you don't have an experience, my name's not Khadijah. We had one guy. He was kind of, you can't play with the pyramid. You know, Shirley MacLaine would not go in. She was terrified of it.
Really?
That's interesting.
You know why?
Why?
You know why? You face your own self. You face
that makes
the terror
sense.
of the threshold. We had one guy who was a little bit arrogant. He thought he knew everything, right? He was kind of a hippie dude, and he said, "I want to spend the night in the Great Pyramid." I said, "Really? Yeah, okay, I'll arrange it for you." Guy had long hair. He was Mr. New Age. I had all the right terminology. I said, "God bless you, honey. You're about to find out who you really are." See, because people don't realize that. So we opened the door. We said, "Go up the Grand Gallery, climb on up. When you get in the King's chamber, we're going to shut the lights off. You better take a flashlight or a candle." I guess it was about 30 minutes later, the guy is holding on to the gate. "Let me out! Let me out! Let me out!" "What's the matter? What's the matter?" I said, "Did you see anything?" "Oh my God!" I said, "That's okay. You'll be all right." The guy was blown completely away. He was totally different after that. It brought his ego down to zero because I think he faced the terror of the threshold. There's something in. There is a guardian. I'll tell you this. There's a guardian of the Great Pyramid, and you will meet him if you're by yourself. And he will examine you to see whether or not you're worthy. And if you're not worthy, you lose your marbles. It's that easy. I've heard of people losing their mind after being in there. And I met him down in the pit. What I don't know. That. The champion back in those days, I'm talking about before most of you were born. Jesus, I'm so old. Anyway, the champion didn't tell me nothing. He says, "I'm going to take you down in the pit." And so you have to bend over and go down this thing, and it's about this wide, right? If you have claustrophobia, you're done. You can't go up, you can't go down. You're like going down backwards for about 20 minutes till you get to the bottom.
Yeah.
And then you're at the bottom of this, you're way down in the ground. And I was down there and I said, "Oh, I got my flashlight, my lish." And I'm looking around, I'm crawling back in some of these tunnels. I said, "Where does that go?" And of course it stopped. I said, "Why does it stop?" It's just like they were going to dig there and they decided not to. So champion said, "I'm leaving you here for 30 minutes and I'll come back down for you and I'm going to lock you in." I said, "Okay, don't worry about it." He goes back up, he's gone, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm going, "Boy, look at this chamber. It's not finished. Wonder what they meant by this." And I'm sitting there intellectualizing myself nearly to death. And so I'm sitting there when all of a sudden the flashlight rolled down the thing, fell off somewhere and went out. And I was in pitch black.
Wow.
I can't tell you how dark it is down there. You can't even see your finger. So I said, okay. It's meant that I be here. If you want me to tell you this thing was blacker than black, it was like a blacker part of the black. It was some kind of being that if I could have seen it, I probably would have lost my marbles. Wow. And it was standing there. Have you ever been in a room, dark room, and you could feel somebody in there, but you can't see them, and your hair goes up on the back of your neck? Well, every hair went up on the front too, because this thing was like looking at me, and I'm like,
"Oh, boy.
Okay, what are you? Are you death?" Because it was so black. It was black within black. I don't know how else to explain it. And I said, if I am come here in peace, I come here to learn what this great pyramid is. I respect it. I will never harm it. I will always respect you. I said, if it's my destiny to be killed, so be it. Then I don't remember anything because I went unconscious. When you're in a black place like that, you close your eyes and you open, it's the same thing. I mean, it's like like those dark things they put you in, like you float in that chamber, in the dark chamber.
Sensory deprivation.
That's it.
Exactly. And then I don't remember anything. Nothing. Then I heard a noise and I looked and I could see a tiny little light. It's a champion coming back down after me. So he comes down and he goes, "What happened to your flashlight?" I said, "Well, I don't know where it is. It fell down." "Oh," he goes. I said, "How long have I been here?" He goes, "An hour and a half." "You said 30 minutes. He goes,
Wow.
Hour and a half. I said, "Where did I go? What was I doing?" And I started up behind him. I said, "Champion, is there something in this pyramid that guards it?" "I don't want to talk about it." He goes. I said, "Please." He goes, "Shut up. I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about it." I said, "There's a guardian, isn't there? There's some kind of a jinn, some kind of they call them jinn, some kind of a being that's here that guards this pyramid against stupidness because you can't do anything in it." So when we got out, I'm like, holy shicey. And we went back down to the village. And what was interesting was we had this dog that was very vicious. Do you know he came up and laid his little head against my leg and looked up at me? And I reached down and petted him and loved on him. It was the strangest thing. It was like he totally changed. But I was in an altered state of consciousness because I've been fasting before I went down there. So there's, in the King's Chamber, there's all kinds of things. It's something I call the Cathedral of Light. When you're in there in the black, pitch black, you look up and you see this gorgeous, it's like some kind of a portal because it's beautiful. It's all made of light and you see through it. It's like you can go somewhere, or it's like you're not there. You're in between something. I don't know how to explain it, but I've seen that twice. And the Guardian, I've never seen him come into the King's Chamber, but I'll tell you a hilarious story. I had this woman. She came to Giza. They said, "Oh, you have to go see Madame Khadija." So she comes. I think she was from Germany. She was very quiet. She goes, "Hello, how are you?" This is how she was. My name is Lady Quiet. I said, "It's nice to meet you, Lady Quiet." I don't say her name. "And what would you like to do?" "I want to go inside the second pyramid. It's very important to me. Not the first one, but..." "Oh," I said, "You want to go in the second one?" "Okay, we'll arrange that for you. No problem." She's very quiet, right? So first we went to the Great Pyramid. There were three of us. And there had been a metaphysical group in there before, but I thought they were all gone, but they weren't. There was a lady lying in the sarcophagus meditating. None of us knew she was in there.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So we sat down, all right? We're sitting down now. And they said, "Khadija, would you chant, please?" I said, "All right." So I start chanting. But all of a sudden, this woman rises up at us. We almost had a heart attack. She rises. She goes, "What is this?" And we're like, holy crap. And that woman I told you, Miss Quiet, she goes up and she goes, "This is our times. You believe this pyramid. Your people are outside. You're not in here." I went, holy shit. This Miss Quiet turned into a lioness. And she made her leave. And I'm like, oh, okay, So we had our time. So then I took her the next day to the second pyramid, Minkara. I said, "Do you want me to stay with you? Are you okay? You want to stay alone? I'll go out." She goes, "No, you stay over there. You sit down over there." I said, "Okay." And she says, "And I'm going to do whatever." And I said, "Whatever is fine with me." I said, "I'm just going to sit here as a guardian of the threshold where the door is. If you need anything, let me know." She walks over. Oh, God. This is a woman that goes, "My name is Miss Whatever." All of a sudden, I hear this sound coming from above. Whoa. I go, "What's that?" I mean, it sounded like another room high up in the second pyramid that nobody knows about. That sound was coming from there. And I went, that's bizarre. And then I saw this woman do things the human body is not capable of. She was doing some kind of gyration dance thing, flipping up in the air, doing all kinds of somersaults and all kinds of weird shit. And I'm like, what? And I'm watching and I'm like, okay. Everybody has their own thing. She did this whole thing for like 5 seconds. Weird gyrations. I don't know. You cannot do what she was doing with a normal body, all right? I don't know if she was a yogi pretzel or what, but anyway, she's doing all kinds of weird stuff. And she goes flying up, straight up in the air, falls down on the ground, and I thought, oh, Lord. I went over and I said, "Are you all right?" She goes, "Yes, I'm fine." I have to forget stuff.
Mm.
But if you had seen what she was doing, something got a hold of her. It's like something went in her and she started doing all this weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Brandy wants to know, how old was she? Brandy wants to know, how old was she? How old was this woman?
Probably in her late 20s.
Interesting, because when I went into the Great Pyramid, I went in there with just me and my girlfriend, and because we had a private tour, and we go up inside, and inside the King's Chamber, there's a young woman about early 20s doing this weird dance. She was like dressed in what can best be described as a New Age garb, and she looked like a typical hippie doing some kind of ritual there. And me and my girlfriend were just checking it out, touching the sarcophagus, touching the walls and stuff. There was also an employee of, obviously, the Ministry of Antiquities. And I don't know how he knew this, but he addressed me in English and asked me for a cigarette. Like, first of all, how did he know that I have cigarettes with me? He grabbed the cigarette off me. I don't even know if he lit it or not. And I was like, what, you can smoke in here? Because I felt like I was in the midst of like a sacred place. I wouldn't light up inside the Great Pyramid. No. And so she continues doing her thing, and after about 15 minutes of us just hanging out there was like an influx of about 20 high school students from Denmark or something, or Sweden, and they like completely changed the vibration of the room, and it was just like pandemonium. So when they left, we left shortly afterwards, and that was my experience of the King's Chamber.
Don't you see how it magnifies everything that's in it? When the people are freaky, it feels like it's magnified times 100.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if they're weird and freaky like that. I have been known to scream, "Shut up," or "Be quiet," when I was in there, because it was so bad. People would get in there and there would be like all this chaotic energy. And you're like, ah. And I said, they thought I was crazy, which is great. I said, please be quiet. They said, oh my God, what a crazy lady. And they all left. It was wonderful. One man accused me of causing him to have an out-of-body experience. I was spinning to death.
But it was interesting. It was interesting for me because I've always wanted to feel the inside of that sarcophagus, because it's really weird, because the inside is perfectly smooth and it goes all the way to the corners and to the edges, whereas the outside is quite rough. And from a modern engineering standpoint, it's almost impossible using our modern technology to polish the inside of a cube like that, or an inside of a rectangle.
They didn't seem to have a problem with any of it.
I like what Niall is saying here. All the lands of the earth which have an ancient history have an eerie sense of death about them. It is just radiation and magnetic resonance. These are tombs, but not in the way you think. It's in the mind, isn't it? It's in the spiritual realm.
First of all, there is no death, okay? We are what the Hindu people call Sat, Chit, Ananda, existence, consciousness, and bliss. You find that out once you kick the bucket. Yeah. You don't find it out until you kick the bucket, you find out. But I wanted to tell you something hilarious, because I love to tell funny stories. I was spending the night as usual in the pyramid, right? And I went down to the King's Chamber for a while, and I was sitting in meditation. Well, now, the people, they opened up the pyramid, and here comes the tourists, right? The first was a group. I have what I call charismatic leader, followed by 50 lambs coming in, to show his great knowledge of Egypt. And it was dark. And I'm coming out. He's coming in. I'm coming out. He doesn't know I'm in there. I had on a white robe like this, because I had been in my meditation robes. He comes, he hit his head on the ceiling, he went, ah! And I went, what's the matter with you? He said, God almighty, where did you come from? I said, I came from the Queen's Chamber. He said, you almost caused me to die. I almost left my body. I said, oh, well, whatever, What are you doing? I said, I spent the night here. What do you mean you spent the night here? I said, sometimes I spend the night. Sometimes I spend the night with my lish. And he's like, all these people are behind him, their eyes are round like this. They're going, what are you? They thought they saw a ghost. Because when they saw me coming down, they thought nobody was in there. I had a white robe.
They're like,
and they
who
thought,
is this?
You know? The guy accused me of causing him to leave his physical body and to have an out of body. It scared. In other words, I scared the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard. I said, they can't deal with it. If it's what if I had been a spirit? What if I had been, some of the things I've seen on the Giza Plateau? What if I had been one of those?
Yeah, you told me a couple of them. Whew.
There's a woman. There's a woman, they say, is a beautiful woman, and she bewitches men on the plateau, and they run after her because she's so beautiful, ancient woman. And they fall in the shafts and kill themselves. She leads them to the shaft, and she kills them. They fall in and die. There are open shafts everywhere around the Giza Plateau. It's very dangerous.
Go ahead, Delabor.
Khadija, do you have a theory about the Queen's Chamber? Like, what was the purpose of that weird little niche there in the Queen's Chamber?
I'll tell you something funny. Mysteries of the Sphinx producer Boris Said, the late, great Boris Said, was one of the most amazing people I've ever met. He would do anything. He didn't care. He was Indiana Jones. And he went down to the Queen's Chamber. He said, Khadija, he said, they're messing up because they closed it. I call them sometimes Department of Iniquities instead of Antiquities.
Yeah.
They closed the Queen's Chamber. No one was allowed to go in. So Boris went down there to find out why. One night he goes in and he goes down to Queen's Chamber. He said, they opened the wall. Khadija, there's a room back there. I said, what? I said, they're doing all kinds of strange experiments and doing all kinds of exploration, and they're not telling people what they're doing. I said, what'd they find? Well, there's a room. When you used to go back there, there was a niche. It was sort of like this.
Yeah, it was like angular. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, behind that's a room was back there. Now they found a room back there. All right.
Wow.
So why I don't know. And I caught them coming in one time. On one of the times I spent the night there, I caught them coming in there in the morning. They didn't think anybody was in there, and they had a Geiger counter and all this equipment. And they were doing things. And I'm going, what are they doing? They see me and they're like, Salam alaikum, what are you doing here? I said, I might ask you the same thing. But anyway, but they're always doing stuff and they don't tell anybody about it. Now, they found another room above the Grand Gallery.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
They haven't said another word, have they? They haven't gone in it.
Grand Gallery is like 8 meters high, and this thing is allegedly even bigger than the Grand Gallery. Yeah, so it's like, what's up with that?
I wonder if Dr. Z got in there by himself.
He probably did because he's on camera going into the hidden chamber underneath the Sphinx and then denying it on camera, saying, "Oh, there's nothing there. There's it's just superstition. There's nothing there." But you have all these historians like going back to Herodotus to Strabo, Pliny the Elder, Diodorus. And that Syrian guy, what was his name? Iamblichus, all describing the same thing, that there's a huge tunnel complex that links the Sphinx to the Great Pyramid, to Hawara, and
guess what
to
and
to Saqqara, as a matter of fact.
That's Rostau.
That's Rostau, yeah.
Rostau.
Yeah.
Underneath the pyramid is a huge honeycomb. Now, I remember going to one of the monasteries. I'm not going to say which one. There's a reason I try to protect the monks. They showed me where they used to hide from the Bedouin, and there was a tunnel. And they said, this was here when we built the monastery. We found it, and it goes a long way. We don't even know how far it goes, miles and miles. We've never gone to the end of it. And I said, why are they building all this stuff under the ground? Like in Turkey, there's an underground city. Was there a time
Cappadocia.
Was there a time when the earth was so polluted, or was it during the Ice Age that they built all these underground cities? I don't know. But it's all under the Giza Plateau. Now, Boris told me that Joe Jahota And some of those guys they had access. They were friends with Dr. Z, and they did a bunch of work with radar, and they found all these tunnels under the Giza Plateau. And but nobody's saying anything about what it is. I used to say, look at that stele of Tutmosis IV in front behind with the paws. The Sphinx is sitting on something. It's sitting on top of something. All right. And they have found, when they've dug down, they have found some granite, which means it could have been sitting on some kind of a temple. I don't know. But I do know that there is a underground, and I can't say any more about it right this moment, but maybe I will tell you later when I come back, or maybe I'm going to take my computer up there, and I'll be talking to you guys from up there next week if you want. Tell you what I found, tell you what I'm doing. Maybe I'll go live and I'll take inside the King's Chamber.
That would be so amazing.
And I'll do some chanting so you can hear when I set the sarcophagus off. Because I do an ancient Egyptian chant using all the words of ancient Egypt and certain keywords to set it off. It's like a tuning fork. It's unbelievable. So I'll do that for you guys and for everybody in the world so they can experience what initiation is. What I do is when people come to Egypt, they can get private time. Now the government is charging like $1,000 for that service. It's like $100 a person or something. It's not that bad. But the thing that happens is you get initiated. Whether or not, it depends on where your own particular evolution is at your point in your time. It's about you and where you're at, and it affects everybody different way. But
that's awesome. Yeah. Well, we have already gone well beyond an hour and a half. We're now fast approaching 2 hours. Just wanted to let you know. Want to let everybody know. Yeah, guys, we're at an hour and 53 minutes so far. So that's cool. It's the first time meeting you. Are you kidding? There were so many questions. And how often do you get to meet somebody who actually lives in Egypt and and has experience?
Yeah, such a connection.
Still
literally been there. Yeah.
Well,
some of the shows in our community go on for hours sometimes, so
I don't care. I'm enjoying myself. I'll be here all day if you like. I'm having fun. I love you guys. You guys are great. I don't mind getting up. I don't mind getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't bother me.
What time is it where you are right now? Just out of curiosity.
It is 5 minutes till 5. The sun, Ra is getting ready to come.
5 minutes to 5.
Same here. Yeah, same here.
You're on the same time zone over there.
The sun is starting. It's getting pink now. It's beautiful. It's getting pink.
That it is.
Well, I want folks to know, like I said in the beginning, for those of you that may have come in later, or listeners who are listening, usually we end up with 2 or 3 times the amount of listeners after the program runs because people hit it late at night or the next morning. So for our listeners who aren't in chat, we're going to be releasing regular updates from Khadija, who we're calling the Esoteric Voice of Egypt. It'll be its own mini production. Nice. And it'll air whenever we get an update from her. We'll put it out there on Andromeda. And it won't be a live show like this, but it'll be a video clips that she sends in and takes you through Egypt to special locations. There might even be an important message or teaching in there from Khadija. And when she gets information that she wants to come bring on the show with the panel, we'll bring her back on.
Absolutely.
For another Esoteric Egypt episode on an ongoing basis. So, and we wanted to welcome you again for coming on board and trusting us with this information, trusting us to help promote you and make you part of the team.
People. Listen, I have never had. I'm losing my voice a little bit. I have never had. I have never had the pleasure of meeting such a great group of people as you guys. You're wonderful. You're doing something so important right now to bring the world together during this COVID crisis. To let everybody know that we love them and that we're with them. And that my friend Tim, I told you about Tim Coleman, documentary filmmaker, is in the hospital in Sharm el Sheikh. He's been there for about 6 weeks, very ill from COVID. So pass by your mind, say, hey, Tim, just send him some energy. He's been very sick. He told me, he
Yeah.
said, I think I'm going to die. I said, no, you're not.
Yeah.
I said, you got too much work to do yet. I said, if
Yeah.
I can split my skull open from riding a half wild horse on the Giza Plateau and nearly die in a coma, you can
Yeah.
damn well get rid of the COVID. I
Yeah.
told him, get some frankincense. All of you that are listening in, get some frankincense, not the store-bought. It should be pharmaceutical grade. I'm not going to give you any names online for advertising for people. I'm not going to do that. It's not fair. But look your own pharmaceutical grade. Look it up on the internet. Essential oil of frankincense.
Okay.
Rub it all over your chest.
Yeah.
Take the following: vitamin D3, a lot. Vitamin C, like 3,000 milligrams a day. Vitamin C, vitamin D6,
Yeah.
calcium, and build your immune system to face it, because you're going to face COVID. Everybody's got to face it.
Yeah.
It's too prevalent. It's too prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So these things will help you. It'll help you. Pine oil. I don't mean Texas either. I don't mean Texas. I don't mean go to the store and buy some, like, you know. I mean real essential oil of pine oil, essential oil of eucalyptus, eucalyptus, any kind of eucalyptus is good.
Yeah.
Any kind of high vibratory oil like rose. So just go online, find your own stuff, but make sure the word pharmaceutical grade is in there.
Right.
So you don't get cheap stuff, because there's a lot of people doing that now to make money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
It's
the
not
next.
going to be.
Go ahead.
Actually, papyrus is a very, very beautiful smelling oil, and I bought some when I was in Egypt. There's a factory, an essential oil factory, right on the Giza Plateau. It's kind of well known. I forget what it's called. It's got some kind of generic name, like Essential Oils of Egypt. And I bought some. It's most people don't realize that lotus is actually a very sweet smelling plant. I mean, not lotus, papyrus. Yeah.
You're not going
It's 5 o'clock.
You're not going to find them Corellia, the Egyptian blue flower. You're not going to find it except with us. You'll find it from Thailand. That is actually a hybrid plant. What we're growing is the real flower. The DNA is the same as the DNA of the ancient flower. A friend of mine is growing it in Saqqara. He's the expert on the flower right now, but he was able to get some seeds. And people are begging me for this plant, but it has to be treated like it is. It's the most holy plant on the planet right now.
Wow.
And I'm very jealous of anybody who thinks it's like any other plant. They can just throw it in the ground and grow it. It has to be distilled as a gift, a sacrifice to the Great One, because it's a great flower. And
Right.
I found a way to do it gently so that I can put it to sleep with love, and it can give forth its energy with love back to us to heal us.
Yeah.
It took me 50 years to find it out, 50 years of my life. So why should I give it away to somebody who just wants to make $1? I'm sorry, I'm not.
I think somebody's eating something. There's a crunching noise, a television running in the background or something.
I hear that.
I heard a croc. I heard a
I heard a voice. I heard a voice before.
Yeah.
That said it was 5 a.m.
Yeah. It's
That's
like a
my
TV.
computer.
Oh, your
But that's-
computer.
That's
Okay.
not.
Figured that.
I have a voice that says the time, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I
It
heard
sounds like a bunch of people talking. You hear it?
yeah, and I heard a rooster crow in the background.
That's here.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
That's my farm. I have a farm next door.
Okay. That's
The
that
chickens see
farm
the
you're.
sun come
Yeah. Well, the next
you
time
guys-
you join us won't be long from now. You are going to take us on a tour through the Luxor Temple of the harem,
Mm-hmm.
and the symbology there. I just couldn't get over the hieroglyphs and what they meant. And
Yeah, it kind of
reminded
blew your
me-
mind, didn't it?
it blew
It's
my
like it's
mind. It
sitting there.
reminded me of
Been
the
sitting there for
Beltane.
It's been sitting there for 3,000 years, and all the quackademics have been walking right past it and didn't see it.
Yeah,
I had no
Yeah.
idea. I walked, yeah.
I was shocked. And,
Amazing.
And the similarities to the Feast of the Beltane,
Oh.
for Furley, I made that connection
Oh.
right away, and I'm like, oh my God, you know.
Maybe they brought that back from the Opet Festival. Maybe
It
Beltane came from there.
Mm.
Have you ever heard this story? Have you ever heard that the Egyptians, some of the Irish people are actually ancient Egyptian people, that they left
Yes.
and went there from Amarna? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I have a
Or
friend that
the,
wrote a book about it.
the
Wow.
That's
Tuatha
why
De
it
Danann.
clicked. That's why it clicked with me. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. This festival that they're celebrating in this harem, isn't unlike the Beltane at all. When you get into some of the pagan practices and what was going on during some of those festivals, and it was kind of kinky.
People knew how to have
But
it. They
it was
knew how to have a
sacred
good
to
time,
them. It
man.
was sacred, yeah.
But it is sacred. Since when did it become anything else? Our Judeo. I hate to say this.
I don't know, but that temple's like Egyptian pornography. It's like,
You Judeo-Christian people, we have the Inquisition. They brought you the Inquisition.
Yeah.
They brought you burning people as witches. They brought you all kinds of crap. They brought you sex is dirty. They brought you women should be ashamed of themselves, stick their head in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
We're scared to death of the men, because they have the power to procreate, and we don't know how the hell they do it, because back then they didn't. So
Yeah.
Egypt wasn't like that. Egypt was not like that. Egypt, everything was holy. They were farmers. They saw animals going for it. I mean, the animals don't have any problem with it. They're like, enjoy it. It's no big deal. But we're going to put all this stuff on it. Oh, it's a dirty. Oh, shame on you. Oh, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I am 74 years old, and I feel like I'm 21 with Blue Lotus oil. And I finally am telling you right now, you never lose it. All of you young people, when you get my age, you're still going to be horny. You're still going to want a man. You're still going to be loved. You're still going to want to be hugged. And all you men are going to be fantasizing, young women, young women, young women. And you won't be able to do a damn thing about it. Unless you have Blue Lotus oil, and then you could do a lot of damn things.
Apparently, according to those hieroglyphs, apparently so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're
We saw
looking
the
forward
guy-
to that. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. We saw the whole video, and that was just fantastic. So,
Mhm.
Well, I want to tell you something. People are really going to want to talk on that one. You're going to get lots of questions. Lots.
Mhm.
Where
Oh,
can
yeah.
I order this? Where can I order this? Quietly, shyly.
And you bottle that up and send me some.
Yeah, really. I'm serious, guys. I'm deadly serious. It's not a joke. It really works. It
Yeah,
really
that-
works.
Yeah.
well,
Mine-
does anybody have any final questions for Khadijah? It's 11:04. We've been at this for a little over 2 hours, so I just want to make sure. Does anybody on the panel have any questions, or anybody in the chat room at this point?
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Thank
thank
you
you.
for being with us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
Bringing
you for
this
being
is
with us. Yeah.
an amazing experience. So
She-
we're just
back.
honored to have you.
Thank
she
you back.
hustled.
I love you.
She hustled her butt to get an internet connection so she could be
Yes,
with
she
us
did.
live. We didn't think we'd have her here live, and so
Yeah.
You should
that
have
was a
seen me
beautiful
yesterday.
treat.
I'm doing the Ramadan
Great.
fast. I'm doing the Ramadan fast, all right? So I don't eat or drink anything from sunrise to sunset.
Mhm.
And yesterday it was 98 degrees, and I was out there going, I have to get this fixed so I can go online. I was terrified. I said, I'm the only one that's not going to be on my show, right? That you guys made up for me. Yeah, I just thought, what's going to happen if I don't show up? I was really upset because I'm kind of I have a little bit of a Virgo thing going.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you got a cough going there, too. Sloaney's
My
here.
COVID-
Sloaney
my
jumped
COVID's
in.
COVID's eating up my TB.
Oh, okay. That's not
No,
good.
we have an epidemic of it here in the village. We have an epidemic going on. I may have
Oh,
it.
okay.
It's possible. But I have it, so what? Malish.
Yeah. Malish. Yeah. What the malish?
Yeah.
You know what I say? When I first saw the COVID, I said, it's a beautiful thing. It looks like it has roses all over it. I was a weird kid, man. I love microbiology. I said, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful little. Look, is that it?
It's a
You got
dog
COVID.
toy. It's a dog toy.
It looks
But
like
it looks
the COVID
like it.
virus.
Yeah, it looks
It
like it.
resembles it.
I squeeze
Yep.
it. I'm gonna squeeze
Yeah.
it.
All right, folks. Thank you so much, Khadijah. Look forward to your
God bless
updates.
all of you.
And,
Thank you so much.
Wonderful
Thank you for
having you.
doing-
And,
Yeah.
yep.
Thank
And
you
thank-
for.
Thank you.
I've made new friends. I can't
Yes,
wait to see you guys
absolutely.
again.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take
We'll
care. Take care.
Stay on.
And
We're
as
going to
we
say
say-
goodbye. And
As
Say what?
we say in Egypt, We say Kula sana wente tayeb. It means may all your years be beautiful and healthy. Kula sana wente tayeb. All of you have a beautiful. This is New Year's for us. Kula
Yes.
sana.
Yes.
May every year be beautiful for you.
You too, Khadijah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Bye.
Wanya.
Thanks, chat room, for sticking with us. And we're sorry you jumped in, Deborah. Go back and play it over. We love you.
Yep.
And we love our chat room and our moderators, especially Audrey. Thank you so much for all your hard work. And we'll see you all on Friday for Andromeda 7, the Celestial Gateway.
Peace be with you.
Peace be with you. Bye.
Bye.